In today's video, we are going to be continuing our around the world journey, and we will be visiting Africa this week, or we did visit Africa this week. We are having a lot of fun exploring all of these continents, reading so many books, going out to places in the city that have to do with the part of the world that we're studying. We watched movies, so we're really getting it down. This was our third continent that we're doing here in Ohio. By the way, my name is Jocelyn. I'm a first-time homeschooling mom to a kindergartner and first grader, and we are originally from the Virgin Islands, but we are spending this term in Ohio. So we have so many resources that we are taking full advantage of, and one of those being the library, since we do not have a library in the Virgin Islands. So I am loving it. I have way too many books checked out at the library right now, but I think it's great. So I'm going to be sharing our core knowledge, our foundation, or our spine, I guess. I don't know if you would call it a spine. If you're not familiar, core knowledge is a free curriculum that you can get. I believe they go K through 8, and they're a full curriculum. They have math, language arts, science, history and geography, art, music. They have a lot of resources, and we are just using their history and geography, more specifically their geography program. Yeah, so the kindergarten program, I've noticed, has a little bit more focus on people and festivals and culture. They do give you information on the continent and the countries, a brief overview, but they also tend to focus a little bit on maybe some cultural things and festivals, things like that. They do talk about animals as well. This is the kindergarten. It goes about 4 pages per continent. And then the first grade does give a little bit more factual information. It starts with a map of the continent, and then it'll go into a little bit more country information, languages spoken, and a little bit more information on the cities. So I have noticed that difference between the two programs. When you do get to Africa in the first grade unit, it does split it between Africa and Asia. So it gives about 3 pages each on each continent. So I'm not quite sure why they split it between the two, especially since Africa and Asia are so different. So they also give you a teacher's instructor guide. They give you activity pages. They give you a passport, so you can do a passport as you go along with this program. They give you also online resources, so YouTube videos, songs, pictures, if you would like to look at more pictures. Yeah, so it's a really nice program. For the most part, at this point, we are just using the readers. You can also get the readers, you can buy the readers offline if you would like an actual book. So I just printed everything off. If I had to do it again, I probably would do it 2 pages per sheet, just because the kids sometimes have a little bit trouble looking at the pictures, but for the most part, it's worked really well. So we will start with our core knowledge. I will usually combine 1 or 2 pages since they do offer a little bit different information, and then we will jump into our reference books and then into our read alouds for the day. We are doing this every day just because we only have so much time in the States, so we are condensing 1 continent per week. But this gives you so much opportunity to expand. I mean, you could take a whole term if you wanted to go over 1 continent. Let's see, anything else about core knowledge? Oh, so the activity pages for Africa we have here. We start our day with the world map. We go over each of the continents in no particular order, and then we will also look at the oceans, also in no particular order. And then this is the map they give you for Africa. So they do give you a continent map each week as well. And that was it this week. Okay, so core knowledge is, like I said, that is where we start our day. We'll just do quick information from that. And then we will do our first world atlas of the world. This, if you have seen, so let me just say that we started with this program going over maps and how to read a map, what a key is and how do you read a map with a key. We've gone over cardinal directions, the names of the continents and the names of the oceans, as you can see with the world map that I showed you. So I did use the instructor guide more heavily in the beginning, but now that we've gotten into the continents, I pretty much don't use the instructor guide. But there is some good information in there about, again, reading maps and directions and things like that. So we have done North America, and then when we got to here to Ohio, we've done South America, which I made a video on that. And then we also did Europe. So I will link those 2 videos down below. I will also put, because I have a whole list of books that I went to the library to see if they had. So I will link that whole list down below, and I will show you what I did get from the library, but there's other resources down below, including videos that we watched or anything else that I find helpful if you are looking to study Africa. So we start with my first Atlas of the World. Sorry for the glare. I did do a more of a flip through in the South America video if you want to see that. But this book really just gives you a bite-sized piece of information about the continent, which is perfect for our goals for this program, which is just to have an understanding of the different continents of the world and the fact that there are different continents and that there are different cultures within those continents and within each country within those continents. So when we do our read alouds, I do try and pick a book from a different country, just so they have a broad understanding of that continent. So this is the information that they give you about Africa in this book, and then a colorful map here with all of the countries. So when we are reading our stories, we will look at this map to find the country and see where it is on the continent, instead of the core knowledge map. They do have, if you've seen my last couple videos, the picture window books, atlases of each continent. They did not have it for Africa, so I was really sad about that, but we also would have used that if we had it. So yeah, so this was our map of Africa that we used. We also had, which the kids really liked looking at, this Ultimate Book of African Animals by National Geographic. This was really great, just looking at all of the different animals of Africa, talking about predators and great pictures. And so this is one of the books that we just had out on the table for them to look at, and they flipped through it multiple times throughout the week. We've also been to the zoo where we looked at African animals. So yeah, this is a good one to have out for the kids to look at. Okay, so now we're gonna go into our read alouds, and I have a lot of books. And this isn't even all that were on my list, but these are the books that we got from the library. Yeah, so I will start with the ones that we read out loud, where they're from and kind of a little bit about them, and then I'll show you the ones that we had just laying on the table. Okay. So we read a little bit more than 5 this week because one of the days the kids just wanted to keep going through the pile, so we just kept going. All right, so first up we have Beatrice's Goat. And this is a story of Beatrice. It's a true story. She lives in a village in Uganda, and an organization donated a number of goats to families in this village that she lives in Uganda. And her dream is to go to school, but her family can't afford it. So with the donation of this goat, she was able to sell the milk because the goat was pregnant. So she was able to sell the milk after she had her kids. And sorry for the glare. This one goat changed her life to the point where they were able to, because of selling this milk, they were able to save up enough money, and she was able to go to school. So this was an interesting conversation that came out of this book, because the kids, I mean, it's a totally different concept that not all kids have the right to go to school. Well, not the right, but the opportunity to go to school. And so this was definitely a book worth reading, and it was some really interesting conversations that came out of this book. So I would recommend this one. Next up we have Bringing the Rain to Kapiti Plain. This is a folktale from Kenya, and it is about when a drought comes through the plains, and it drives all of the animals away, so they're happy and the grass is all green, but then there's no rain and the grass goes brown, and the cows, they're hungry. All of the other animals have left. They've gone off in search of food elsewhere, and they desperately need rain. So he shoots the sky with an arrow, and it finally rains, and the grass turns green again, and the cows are happy, and everybody has food, and everybody is happy again. So it's nice pictures. It's also the kids where I asked, what happens when there's no rain? Do the animals have food? And it was kind of a nice lesson within this story. Next up, we have The Water Princess. And this is based off of the childhood experience of the model Georgie Bidel. I'm not sure how to say her name, sorry. And this is a story of a little girl that has to walk all the way down to the river to get water to use for everyday use. So it is the journey of her going down to the river and back again, carrying a pot on her head. And there's an actual video that I played for the kids that is the model reading it. So they were able to look at the pictures while she read it on the video, and I'll link that down below. But again, like the other books that we've read, this was also a great conversation starter because it's a totally new concept to the kids that they can't just go to the faucet and not everybody in the world can just go to the faucet and turn on the water. In the Virgin Islands, we use rainwater for our drinking water and our everyday use of water. So we are very conscious of the amount of water that we use, but that is nothing compared to this experience. So it's interesting because here in the States, I feel like it's not even like a thought process, like the amount of water that you use. But then coming from the Virgin Islands, where you do have to be conscious of the amount of water, because once you use all your water's gone. But this is like, you have to walk for your water every single day. You have a pot on your head you have to carry. Sorry, I can show you inside. And so for the kids, it was just like a concept that they hadn't been exposed to before. So this was a nice book, and I would definitely recommend the video of her reading it. But this was a very good conversation starter. And it's kind of cool because she has a foundation that is bringing wells to villages all over Africa. So it just was a nice conversation to have with the kids, and exposure to something that was totally new to them. Okay, next up we have Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters, the classic tale. This is a story of two sisters, one who is mean and nasty and the other who is kind. They're both beautiful, but their personalities are totally different. And the king wants to pick a wife, and he wants all the women of his kingdom to come and meet him. And so the mean sister sneaks off in the middle of the night and tries to meet the king before her other sister so that she could be chosen. It's a nice story about external beauty, internal beauty, and it's got nice pictures of African landscapes, and yeah, it's a classic story. I had this one growing up. Next up, we have Catch That Chicken. This is by Atanuk. She does a number of children's books that all have really, really great illustrations. She also did Anna Hibiscus. She did, I think it's Two Small Tola, the #1 Car Spotter series. But she also has a number of children's books, picture books, that have just really great illustrations. This is about Lami. She is the best chicken catcher in the whole compound. And so it's got this, it goes through this whole compound as she catches chickens. So it talks about, the old men of the village. It talks about, the communal area. It's got some really great pictures, and a really nice glimpse into African life in Nigeria. So these books are all set in Nigeria. So we read Catch That Chicken, but she also has, I just got these out for the kids to look at. L is for Love, and sorry for the glare, Baby Goes to Market. This one is really cute. It's got, as the mom goes through the market, the baby's tied to her back, and the market, what are they called? The booth, not the booth, the people at the market keep giving the baby snacks while she's on the mother's back. And it's really great pictures of the market life. It's great pictures of the food, outfits. So these are just great big picture books to look at. All right, next up we have Deep in the Sahara. And this is set in Mauritania, and it is about a Muslim family. Totally different than the other books that we were reading, but you know, that's the point of this exploration, is to see all the different cultures within a continent, different architecture, different religion. It's a story of a little girl who wants to be able to wear a malafa, like the rest of her family, the rest of the women in her family, and it talks about the men wearing turbans. So I definitely wanted to bring this book in just because it is so different than the other books that we were reading. All right, last one we are doing is The Safari So Good, all about African wildlife. And this is a Cat in the Hat book. This one was just a fun read. We had the African Animals book, but this was just it's just a fun book to read, to learn about the animals of the safari. It was a fun book to read out loud. So we read more than the normal amount this week. One day, like I said, the kids just wanted to keep going. So we kept going, and we were looking at the map. We identified the country that each of the books was from. We looked pictures online if we wanted to. And just a couple other books that I didn't get to. We have a couple books on Wangari's Tree of Peace, and this is a true story of a woman that planted trees all over Africa. She grew up in Africa. She went to the United States for school. She came back, and there was deforestation happening. It was destroying the landscape. It was destroying the ecology of her home. And so she started planting trees, and her movement spread all over Africa. So I have another book here, Planting Peace. If you have younger learners, this is a more appropriate book for them. If you have older learners that want to learn about her. Next up, we have My Rows and Piles of Coins. This is a story based off the author's life growing up in Tanzania. He saved money because he wanted to buy a bicycle to help his mother at the market. So it does talk about, I mean, it's kind of cool. The money looks completely different than what we have. So this is about his journey to save money to help his mother at the market. Again, nice pictures. We looked at the pictures in this one, but we didn't get to the story. Okay, we have Beautiful Blackbird, which is a folktale, an African folktale. Nice pictures. But this is about a tale that talks to you about appreciating the beauty within and not necessarily focusing on the outward. And last we have For You Are a Kenyan Child, and this is about a little boy that's supposed to be minding his grandfather's cows, and instead he gets distracted by all of the people in the village and the monkeys, and again, he's supposed to be in the fields with his grandfather's cows, and he's doing everything but. It's a cute story, and it's got nice pictures, and it's got nice animals, so I would recommend this one. So that is our picture book journey through Africa. We also did, we went to an African coffee shop and we tried African food. It was really, really nice. We're really enjoying this journey through the world through picture books. Thank you for following along with us and joining us on our adventures around the world. And next week we are doing Southeast Asia. We are splitting Asia into 2 parts. So we are doing Southeast Asia, and then we will get into Middle East in the following week. So thank you for following. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and we will see you guys next week. All right, bye.